Aijaz Ahmad's essay "Literary Theory and Third World Literature: Some Contexts" critically examines the Western academic construction of Third World literature and its ideological underpinning. He argues that this categorization is not an organic or inherent literary tradition but a product of Western institutions, particularly metropolitan universities in the UK and the US, which attempt to homogeneize diverse literary traditions from the global South. Key argument in this essay: the Western construction of Third World literature. Ahmad challenged the legitimacy of Third World literature as a unified category, arguing that it emerged in Western universities rather than within the nations it claims to represent. He criticized how Western institutions select, translate, and classify non Western texts according to their own academic and ideological frameworks. This process, he argues, distorts the diversity of literary traditions in Africa, Asia, and Latin America by forcing them into a singular post colonial narrative. The problem with the three words theory. Ahmad critiques the three words theory, a Cold War era classification that divides the world into first world capitalist countries like the US and UK, second world socialist states like the USSR and China, third world developing nations in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. He argues that this geographical classification has been uncritically adopted in literary studies, leading to essential generalization about non-Western literature. The role of imperialism in literary circulation. Ahmad highlights how imperialism not only controlled third world economics but also influenced the global circulation of literature. A Latin American novel, for example, may reach an Indian university only after it has been selected, translated, reviewed, and categorized in the West. He argues that this process reinforces Western academic dominance over how third world texts are interpreted and consumed. Nationalism and Marxism in literary criticism. Ahmad critiques how many post-colonial scholars such as Edward Said Homi Bhabha focus on cultural nationalism rather than class struggle. He argues that Marxism offers a better framework for analyzing third world literature because it examines the material conditions of imperialism and class struggle rather than just cultural discourse. Ahmad warns that reducing third world literatures to national narratives ignores the role of socialist and communist movements in shaping literary production. Ahmad's critique of post-colonial Western theorists Edward Said and Orientalism. While Ahmad acknowledges Said's contribution to exposing Western stereotypes of the East, he criticized Orientalism for being too focused on discourse and representation. He argues that Edward Said ignores the material and economic structures of imperialism, which shape how knowledge about the third world is produced. Homi Bhabha and hybridity. Ahmad discussed Homi Bhabha's idea that post-colonial identities are always negotiation and hybridity, arguing that it overlooks the real oppression of imperialism. He criticized Bhabha's writing style as elitist and inaccessible, reinforcing the academic detachment of post-colonial studies from actual political struggles. Friedrich Jameson and national allegory. Ahmad strongly opposed Jameson's claim that all third world literature is necessarily a national allegory. He argues that third world literature is as diverse as Western literature and cannot be reduced to a single political function. theoretical and political implication of Ahmed's argument, the need for Marxist criticism. Ahmed argues that Marxism produced a some more rigorous analysis of third world literature because it examines how imperialism, capitalism, and class struggles shape literary production. He believes that post colonial theory often fails to address economic exploitation, focusing instead on identity and cultural hybridity. The impact of global capitalism on literary production. Ahmed critiques how global capitalism shapes the production, translation, and academic reception of third world texts. He warns that Western institutions selectively elevate certain third world authors such as Salman Rushdie while ignoring those with more radical political messages. The dangers of academic elites. Ahmed criticizes how post-colonial theory has become detached from real-world struggle and is often confined to elite academic circles in the West. He calls for a more engaged, politically conscious literary criticism that connects literature to material struggle against capital and imperialism.